Hi, I'm Tom. This is Mina, and this is Kitty Help Desk. So today I wanted to talk to you for a minute about scratchers. There are a lot of scratchers out on the market, and some of them are simply not great for cats. And it's important that when you're choosing something for your cat, that you choose something that they're really going to benefit from. You know, it's no good if you waste your money on something that they're not going to like, and it's not going to be effective for them, and then it's going to discourage you. It's going to, the cat's not going to want to use it, and they might continue using maybe your furniture instead, and it just creates some problems down the line that could be avoided. Scratchers serve really three purposes for a cat. One is to shed their nail sheaths in their claws. Each of their nails it's very different from like our nails that continually like grow outward. They have a new sheath that grows inside the old one and slowly pushes the old one off. So the dull one falls away and there's a razor sharp new claw underneath, and that gets used for a while. And as the new one grows underneath, it pushes it out and it eventually sheds. Now, that process of shedding, sometimes that nail, that outer sheath can hang on too long, and a cat can go to a scratching post or a horizontal scratching surface and dig their claws in, and that will help them pull them off the end of those new claws so that they have razor sharp claws all the time, and it makes them feel good. The whole process of it makes them feel great. And you have to think about it like almost like cracking your knuckles, because I crack my knuckles a good bit, and or like stretching, they get a big stretch out of it and they claw you, and you can just tell when a cat's really getting into it how much they enjoy it. And part of it is getting those uncomfortable sheaths off the ends of their nails. It just makes their paws feel better. But on top of that, it also is a way for them to mark their territory. They have scent glands in their paws, and when they're scratching, they're actually depositing scent there, and they're marking that area as part of their territory. In addition, the sound of them scratching the post or scratching the cardboard is telling other cats, this is mine, this is mine. So sometimes it's just a display of territoriality that really represents. So all of these things are really important in a cat's life. And if they're not able to exercise these things, then it makes them, it can make them irritable, or it can make them feel uncomfortable or insecure in the household. So we want to make sure that they have adequate scratching surfaces at, very appealing places around the home. Now, by adequate, what I mean is it has to be the right size for the cat. I was in the grocery store the other day, and that's what really prompted this video. I saw, in the grocery store, they have this little tiny section of sort of cat and dog toys and supplies and stuff next to the food. And in that section, there was a really tiny, I'll put a picture of it, a little tiny scratching pad thing. And that corrugated scratcher had to be like maybe a little over a foot long and maybe 4 inches wide. And I just can't imagine any cat thinking that was adequate. I mean, I guess if that's all that they had, I'm sure it would be interesting to the cat. But if you're going to have a horizontal scratcher, it really needs to be large enough for the cat to sort of stand on. They need to be able to get their weight on it so it doesn't move while they're stretching out. And while they're stretched out, that shows you how big it should be. It needs to be big enough, long enough for the cat, and wide enough for the cat to be on top of it, fully stretched out with their claws out so that they can take care of business. And that means it probably needs to be 1.5 to 2 feet long, depending on the size of the cat, and at least, 10, 12 inches wide. Like, it needs to be a substantial size. And when we talk about cat trees or scratching posts, they need to be also, maybe like 2 feet tall at least. The taller, the better, because a cat really needs that vertical stretch. They need to be able to reach up and really dig in and hang on it with their body and curve their spine You know, you've seen a cat really dig in, because in the wild they would do this on trees probably. Anything rough texture is really going to be more appealing because it's more like what they would encounter in the wild. And that's why the surface needs to be rough. It's why some cat trees that have, soft carpet around the bottom, cats will often try scratching that, but their claws will just slip right through it, and it won't be as appealing to them as something that's got a rough texture, like a sisal rope wrap, something like that feels rough when they touch it. That's going to trigger them to use it more frequently. It just makes it more appealing to them. So it needs to be large enough, tall enough, rough enough. It also needs to be sturdy enough. If it's got some little tiny base and this little spindly, post on it, and they go to scratch on it and it pulls it over, or it feels like it moves too much or something, they're not going to be attracted to using that again because it feels insecure. It feels like, oh, this is going to fall on me, or if I dig into it, I'm going to fall down. So they'll start looking for something else. In a lot of cases, they're going to look for chairs or upholstery, furniture, sofa arms, whatever it is. They're going to go to something that's solid and doesn't move when they try to scratch it. And so, speaking of furniture, a lot of times, a cat may even have these things. They may have the large scratchers, and the vertical versus horizontal debate really depends on the cat. A lot of cats like both, but some cats prefer one over the other, and you really have to offer them both in order to learn what they like. But once you know what they prefer, just provide them with the kind of scratcher that they prefer and put it in an area where they are prone to use it. If you just put it back in a corner somewhere because you don't want, guests to see it or something like that, it's pretty likely that the cat's not going to use it all that frequently, because that scent marking portion of the whole process really needs to happen at the boundaries of their territory. For them to feel safe and secure, they need to be able to mark the edges of their territory. So the cat tree or the scratching post needs to be near a high traffic area, or the entrance and exit to a room is a good idea. Or if they've shown you that they like a piece of furniture, you need to put it in front of that piece of furniture, at least temporarily, in order to show them, here's an alternative for you, sort of to let them see it, and notice it, because that they like that area already. And then maybe you can ease it away and they'll go with it, a little further back into the room or something. But, you have to really try to make your case with the cat when you bring something like that in. I once had a cat tree that I bought for Mina. This is really early on in her first year with me. And I brought it and set it up and put it over against a wall, and she just ignored it. And she might have gone by and sniffed it a time or two, but she really didn't pay any attention to it over several months, to the point where I just decided, well, I'll just have to get rid of this. So I had a friend that lived in town. This was when I lived in Los Angeles, and he had cats, and so I thought, well, I'll offer it to him. And he said, well, send me a picture of it. I'm not sure I have space for it, but if I do, I'd love to take it. So I pulled it out into the center of the room, and I started arranging it and looking at it, and I started taking pictures of it. Immediately, Mina was into it. She ran over to it, and she was scratching it. And here's a picture of her actually scratching it while I was taking these pictures. And from that point forward, she loved it. But she really didn't love it until I showed that I was interested in it in some way. And it may feel silly when you bring something like this in to make a fuss about it, but trust me, when you do that, you're showing your cat that this thing is important to you and that you're excited about it. They won't understand what you're saying, of course, but they will still pick up on your emotions, and it will make this new object more attractive to them. You can even show them, you can scratch it with your nails and show them that that's what this is for, because cats often learn things from other cats by mimicking them. So if we scratch on it a little bit, it not only shows them that, it makes the sound that they like, and it also puts our scent on it, which makes it more attractive to them too. So just, bear all these things in mind when you choose a scratching post or a scratching surface for your cat. And I think, you'll both be happier because of it. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.